Hello and welcome everybody to Get Good European Edition. I guess console edition as well. We're in week 3, round 3. We're going to be tuning in with Kybaid versus Oblivion for your casting entertainment tonight. I'm going to be Sir Waltham, joined by Ocean. Ocean, tell us a little bit about these console teams, if you will.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sir Wolfen. We have two very strong teams in the European Get Good scene. We have Kybaid and Oblivion, who are both 2-0. Both of these teams have been streamed previously on our Get Good streams, and they both have done very, very well. And two very, very strong lineups going head to head today. I'm very excited in particular about the support battle between Chemist and Road Warrior. Probably will start for Kybaid. And against them, we'll probably on that support will probably be Reddit Ross, and I assume Feud Zenyatta, which is also ER2535.
Yeah, going to be looking forward to some pretty competitive games here, I imagine. I believe, what was the scoreline for both these teams? 2-0 from what you were telling me earlier?
Both 2-0.
Yeah, both 2-0 for these teams. So both one of them's got to lose. One of them's got to break that dam moving forward. And we're going to be starting on Nepal, it seems. Not sure if we're still waiting for the official call on that or if the teams have elected into that. But if we do start on Nepal here, Ocean, what do you anticipate?
I'm anticipating like some heavy brawl competitions. Kybaid in particular are very, very confident on those brawl competitions. They like to run a lot of Ryan Zarya, Ryan Orisa as well. They have some very competent Lucio Moyer players, as well as an Ana player and Road Warrior is an option. So they've got a lot of options when it comes to those brawl competitions. And Oblivion as well. They've got some terrific tank players as well. A very strong Lucio player in Reddit Ross as well. So both of these teams pretty confident in the brawl compositions, and Nepal as a map in particular known for that sort of brawl style, especially on Village and Shrine. However, on Sanctum, we tend to see like more dive options and more bunkery options. So we'll see what we see from both of these teams.
We will see what we see is a fantastic way to put it. I am certainly excited here as we are just waiting on the teams to get ready. Now, as we move forward here, Ocean, just for my purposes, we were kind of going over it a little bit earlier. We're of course watching consoles now. How might that differ from the regular PC games that we have been seeing, in the weeks prior?
Yeah, so on console it's a lot more difficult to aim, so you'll see a little bit less of your hit scans. It's a lot more easier to move around and path around the map. You have extra movement options with the analog sticks, so definitely you'll see players being able to path around the map a little bit better. Movement will be a lot stronger. Hit scans will be traditionally a bit weaker. So that's what you're kind of expecting from the console scene. Meta-wise, you'll see something standard like Overwatch League. You'll probably see a lot of double shield, some odd dive compositions here and then, and something like that. So it'll be standard meta, and people will be able to comprehend it. It's nothing too different to what we see in Overwatch League.
Sense, especially with you talking about the double shield still being meta. When you talk about characters that aren't as affected by mechanical limitations, tanks and supports, particularly the tanks seem to be more immune to that. However, we do have it here that we are going to be moving on to Nepal, ready to see what that first map coming online is just about to be. Looks like, in fact, it is going to be Sanctum, if my map terminology is correct and up to date.
Yeah, Sanctum, a map that's really good for the traditional bunker comps, really good for the traditional dive comps. And yeah, we'll see what these two teams opt to run.
Yeah, certainly going to be the case here. In about 10 seconds, we will have those rosters light up and get going. Here we are just waiting, of course, for that timer to tick down. As we see it come online, not too much to say yet, but there is that double shield composition coming out from it. Looks like Oblivion, Mellow Bellow, and Eden's going to both be on that Sig Ori combo.
I'm not too sure that Michaels is going to go for that Winston. Very competent Orisa player. I think this is a little bit of a bait coming out. Currently, however, they do have Kin the Snowman available, who is a very competent Ana player, and Ana does synergize pretty well with Winston, so it wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility.
It certainly would not. As this timer is going to tick down, it looks like we're going to get a little bit of a view into what the teams are actually going to be running. Bap Lucio versus Ana Mercy, it seems. An interesting choice.
Yeah, Lucio provides you a lot more mobility, so you can navigate and path around the map a lot stronger. On a Mercy has a lot more heals and pocket potential, so Vezred on the Ashe can get a lot more damage done with that dynamite.
Yeah, and Oblivion really separating their tanks from the rest of their team. It seems Sigma and Ori both kind of on this little off angle, the turret being set up by the OG Hanzo, really laying down that damage, really getting those rotations in. But OG Hanzo going to be the first one taken down, but a nice boop from Chemist going to be evening the playing field just a little bit here. It's Kybaid with first possession on the map. They're going to be setting up to get some early point progress here, but this team fight is going to determine if they will hold it. And Witty Weep being focused down by this Tracer, but Torbjorn to the rescue. OG Hanzo throwing those rivets into the skull of Tracer as Vezred does their best to kind of retort back, getting a couple kills in their own kind. Even Bob coming out onto the field, ready to throw down that damage, put a little bit more of the pressure onto the side of Kybaid, and with that, it looks like
He's killed all 6.
Yeah, it's gonna take it all.
Yeah, Vezred on the Ashe has been like superbly enabled by his team. He's got the Mercy available, he's got that damage boost consistently, and he's got that Arista who's providing holds, he's got that Sigma who's providing an off angle, which means you have a lot more space on that Ashe pick, and he just killed all 6 in that team fight. So a lot of those resources being put into Vezred, and he's showing why he gets those resources.
Yeah, a lot of resources going there as well. Bob also gonna be a slight factor. People always give Bob as much credit as he is due. And with this now, a little bit of staging coming in from these teams. That turret from OG Hanzo trying to get that poke down, but Vezred's going to take that opportunity and take down Chemist. The rotations perhaps coming in a little bit too slow from Kybaid. You have to think if that Torb is slowing them down, and the stick on to the Ashe lands to Lynxy, actually getting to with that Tracer Pulse Bomb. Massive value from that. It looks like these DPS players are absolutely popping off here, Ocean.
Yeah, they have so much space and they're enabled so much by the composition they are playing. So on this control game mode, when you have control of the point, its hint is in the name, you're controlling space. You're controlling the space with that double shield composition. And when you're controlling that space, your Ashe is so enabled because she has these very, very long sight lines. That makes it really difficult for the team that's attacking the objective to even push in. And then when you've got the Ashe and you're constantly threatened by that, and then you've got just a Tracer running around in the back, it's really difficult for Kybaid to even think about pushing in here.
It's going to be tough, but they're trying again. The Grab Flux going to be an initiator. Mongovic going to be trying to throw in, but doesn't find too much value with it. Also took a little bit of a wide angle, so the team wasn't able to capitalize with them. And now OG Hanzo going to be throwing in the Torbjorn Molten Core, but Chemist once again getting the boop kills. That Lucio concussive boop coming in, going to be landing that value. And Michaels brought dangerously low off the back of one pulse mine. Doesn't get brought down, though, and the healing comes through.
Yeah, they still Vezred with the Mercy Pocket on the side. I don't think he's going to get much value over there, but I really like that pathing. Avoiding a lot of the sightlines that the Ashe has, taking a lot of natural cover, palming around that left-hand side. Mongovic uses that Gravitic Flux to get onto the high ground above the opposition tank line. Melobello kind of a little bit startled by Mongovic on the high ground, and that provides a lot of space for Chemist to get that double boop, that double environmental kill, which really twisted that fight around.
It certainly did. Once again, the poke phase coming through. Oblivion just trying to get some damage, perhaps trying to build some ults. They're going to have to push into 3 here, so they need to be careful. But as it gets going, we're starting to see Melobello take tiptoes towards point. They take down that Torbjorn turret, relieving a little bit of pressure. Lynxy now going to be allowed into the backlines because of it. Really trying to tear up into OG Hanzo. Has to pop that overload, but in the meantime, on the point, Kybaid going to be taking it tank to tank right now. The Immortality Field is going to come out from Kane the Snowman, trying to keep their team alive. And Witty Weep going to be getting the shots, but the res might come through from Feud Zenyatta. In fact, it will. Nobody there really camping that body, but Bob's going to go into the back line. It's going to be a Bob v. Bob type situation. It looks like Kybaid has managed to flip the point, but they need to be able to hold it for just 10% more. Bob going to be pulled into the pit from Michaels. That halt coming in big time, but the players are hemorrhaging for the side of Kybaid. They need to make something happen. They need to get some respawns and some kills coming in onto this point. It doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Yeah, that last fight was ultimately decided by the Astral Chemist. Will try his hardest to make it happen for Kybaid. I don't think there's anyone that's going to be able to come back, and Sanctum will go over to the side of Oblivion. Their Ashe, Vezred, was the Ashe on top. Of course, though, Witty Weave got the pick onto Vezred. However, that Mercy Res was there to save the day, and Vezred cleaned up that fight for Oblivion.
Yeah, I'm overall liking the combinations we're seeing here. Vezred will take out a turret or something like that, and Linksy, knowing that that Torbjorn threat's not as prevalent anymore, will feel a lot more comfortable going into the back lines. It's that kind of cohesion you really like to see.
Yeah, definitely good cohesion, especially in the composition and just how the team is understanding the composition they're playing. Now, Orisa and Sigma are just controlling that space. Vezrad's able to take as many angles with resources as he wants, and then Lynxie's just harassing them in the back lane. As we see a Symmetra composition on the side of Kybaid. It's going to be controlling space as well. However, they've got the Rhine Diva as well to try and enable OG Honzo on the McCree.
Yeah, might be trying to mitigate some Tracer or Ashe damage as well with Michaels. And it looks like Kybaid's still kind of leaning on these turret characters. Oblivion going to be tearing up that teleporter immediately and then diving into the back line. But Michael's chasing them down, really trying to focus down this Tracer. But this Tracer is just absolutely distracting Michaels and about to get the D-Mech as well. Once again, we see the early damage come through the D-Mech onto that Diva, means that defense matrix is not going to be available to halt into some severe damage. Vezred once again helping their team come to absolute victory on this point here. First capture was the Kybaid, but not for long.
Yeah, it seems like both of these teams have a very different way of playing the control map. It's very different because we see the side of Kybaid trying to control the point, whereas we see the side of Oblivion trying to control the space for their Ashe. So they're controlling the point and controlling different areas. However, the space is there for Vezred on the high ground and the Ashe to get as many kills as he wants. Witty Weave is going to go over the Tracer to try and get Linksy in that chill, and hopefully that'll make a difference.
Ooh, and Bob goes in, knocks Chemist up, and then Chemist gets cleaned up by Vezred's Dynamite. That is amazing synergy from Ashe and Bob, but a Fire Strike on the Linksy can help even out the playing field here, but it might not be enough. Oblivion still in a little bit more of a dominant position. He's going to be taking out Witty Weave as well. Vezred's absolutely on fire right now with this Ashe. Lucio going to be coming in for a last-minute contest, but it felt a little unnecessary.
Yeah, Kybaid do get the flip, so on the side of Oblivion, you don't get as much progress as you nearly would have liked. However, you still win the fight, you still have control of this objective, so you still have that defender's advantage, a lot more space for your Vezred, again, on the Ashe, just to frag as much as you can. That Mercy damage boosted Ashe, it's been really difficult to push into once again for that Kybaid roster.
OG Hanzo going to be receiving the nano boost, taken down Eden Solace. The Mercy from Feud Zenyatta going to be popping that Valkyrie, but doesn't go for the res. Eden Solace still going to be staying out of this fight. OG Hanzo just staying neatly tucked into the rest of their team, pushing a little bit ahead of their tank now as I say that. The Diva Bomb coming in, the Rhine Shatter to try and combo something, only gets one off the back end of that Diva ult. But the res now going to be coming through. The Ana brought online. There are no more tanks to be healed up, and the Ana brought down almost as quickly as she was brought up with this, and now it looks like Kybaid going to start winning some fights.
I actually really like that idea from Kybaid. Try and push them to point, try and force a rotational error from Oblivion. And when you're rotating, it's very difficult for your team to get split, especially at a lower level than, say, Overwatch League or Contenders. And they do get split. Vezred gets split off, and that's the one they want to get split off. That's who they Earth Shatter and get the Diva self-destruct kill on. But we'll see how Oblivion now engage.
Yeah, Linksy gonna be able to get the McCree, but Michael's able to clean them up in return. Bob taking a little bit of a nap. You've done hard work in the past. Might as well pay it off a little bit. The Supercharger now gonna be coming out from Melovello, as well as the Grab Flux from Eden Solstice. A lot of damage going on to that Reinhardt. No surprise, Mankovic is not able to survive for too long. Witty Weave gonna be now here trying to tear up into the backline. Does have the recall used just to try to get a little bit of health back, but gets two-shot by Vezred. You cannot sleep on this Ashe player. They will take your head and body clean off. The accretion going in on to Chemist. Chemist trying their best to stall the point. They've done a pretty successful job here as reinforcements have come in for the side of Kybaid, but it's not going to be quite enough as Oblivion flows in with the kills.
Yeah, Oblivion winning the majority of these team fights, however, as we see by the scoreboard, Kybaid are already on 99%. Oblivion cannot drop another team fight. They have the ultimates to do so and hold out the rest of the round, the nano boost, the pulse bomb, and the bob available, and they will have that Valkyrie. So it's all about distributing these ultimates correctly so that they can take this map.
Yeah, Mangovich going to be taking an early anti-nade. The pulse mine coming out, but Michael's going to be eating it. Lynxie taken down early. That is crucial. OG Hanzo continues to go on a little bit of a tear and getting these kills. Mellow Bello now falling. No front line for the side of Oblivion. Sigma falls. This is not looking great. The entire team invests those ultimates, and it looks like they're going to be successful in holding and flipping this point.
Yeah, Kybaid's understanding of playing the control game just seems to be better than Oblivion's. Oblivion won the majority of those team fights. However, it wasn't enough to win the round because of all the little chips they got at the percentage. As we saw, 15% in the first fight went to Kybaid before Oblivion even finished the fight and then won it. And eventually just went up and up over time. And Kybaid only needed to win 2 fights in the end to take that map. So very interesting to see these two teams, different understanding of the control game mode and how it's benefited them differently on each of the points.
Yeah, I really like the way Kybaid's playing right now. I like to use the phrase death by 1,000 cuts. That feels like exactly what Kybaid did. They just got the point for a little bit each time. Even if they didn't win the fight, they were still slowly building that progress.
Yeah, they do make use of that. And I think they're going to stick on a similar composition. They seemed really comfortable in that natural brawl composition, whereas when they were taking that double shield mirror, something just seemed a little bit off in their shield rotation, and they're going to step away from that for now, and they have to deal with Vezred in the sky.
Yeah, Vezred going to be hopping on. It's going to be on up to the OG Hanzo to try and deal with that. Mercy getting brought dangerously low. OG Hanzo going to be focusing them out of the sky. Feuds and Yada can't bring themselves back out of that fight. And now just the poke damage trying to come in from Lynxie, trying to be a little bit of a pest. But not much happening. Vezred taking a little bit of a fall off of the map. I'm not sure what the deal was there. But it's going to be Lynxie still up in this fight, trying to get some stock or point contest. Not going to happen, though.
Yeah, they're just going to swap off, get off the Pharah. They realize they can't really play the Pharah into that McCree, especially when Feuds and Yada got picked up early. They're going to put Vezred on the McCree and take that duel on the similar hero as they try to push in here with this double shield.
Yeah, OG Hanzo getting focused down by Lynxie just a little bit, but the D.Va going to be there to back them up. That D.Va so good at mitigating the trickle damage that can come in from Tracer. Lynxie has the pulse mine, doesn't go for it, doesn't go it onto OG Hanzo, but the swings coming in big. Lynxie getting stunned out, but doesn't land the headshot quite yet. Because of that, they're able to walk away with their life. The nano boost going to be going on to Mangovich. And Mangovich now swinging for the fences, and with this, it looks like this fight has all but turned. Mangovich going to be taking a little bit of a nap after that massive boost of power. Yeah,
they're just going to finish off that fight. Nano boost onto the Reinhardt. Fight is won. Fight is over. And they have really good ult economy on the side of Kybaid now. They're already got 52%. Maybe only 2 fights remaining for Oblivion. And they've got that Deadeye, they've got the Earth Shatter, they've got the Soundbar, they will have the Self-Destruct, they will have the Portal, they will have all of these ultimates available for just 2 fights. And this is a great spot for Kybaid to be in.
It really is good so far. The Zarya coming out from Mellow Bello. The Nano now going to be put on the Eden Solus, but Eden's taken a little bit of an anti-nade themselves. The Pulse Mine going out, lands on the Fuse and Yada, not going to be able to build up that sound barrier. The Earth Shatter tries to come out from Mangovich, but doesn't quite land, the shield blocking most of it. And now it looks like the wraparound has actually come in from Kybaid. They've managed to kind of Huscow Oblivion all around the point, but Oblivion never got control.
Yeah, they use that one ultimate, and they do get a lot of the ultimates out on the side of Kybaid. However, they kept their Self-Destruct, they kept their Deadeye, and they will build up to Nano Base, but they still have to touch.
Yeah, the High Noon now going to be coming out from OG Hanzo, really putting down that pressure. The stun on the Eden Solus, and Mellow Bello on this Wrecking Ball just to get back to point and make something happen. Lynxie going to be dropped by the OG Hanzo, but Vezred taking down 2 with the Deadeye will be punished, however, with a quick cleanup from Mick Michaels. And with this, it now looks like it's about the death knell for Kybaid holding this point. They need to make something happen, and that might have just been it. If Winnie Weave can hold this point enough for the D.Va to get her mech back, Michaels might be able to make a little bit more of a stall effort for it. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Yeah, that's not going to be the case. I really do like that engagement from Lynxie on the left-hand side. It means they're all focused on that left-hand side, and that means that Vezred could come in with that Deadeye, picks off 2, and change the course of the fight, and potentially the entire round.
Now, of course, Oblivion going to be stuck with that Wrecking Ball, and Soldier now coming out, it looks. But these teams just kind of saddling up, looking to see which way they want to go. Kybaid's going to be taking the underneath left-hand side, it appears. Really trying to just focus out Vezred on that Soldier. The Pulse Mine coming out, takes out Kane the Snowman early. That's going to be painful, and it's going to cost Kybaid some times. especially as they take a big Earth Shatter, landing onto 4, I do believe. And with that, Oblivion just comes in for some quick clean.
Yeah, really quick fight. They do only use 2 ultimates, however. You kind of feel they might want that Earth Shatter back. They already took down the main healing resource of that Kybaid line, so they weren't really with a chance of winning that fight, Kybaid. However, Oblivion take the safety route. They use that Earth Shatter. It means they still have a little bit of an ult advantage in the next fight. However, all depends on if Chemist can build up that sound barrier quickly. Already on 83%.
Yeah, Mello has those mines. I'm not going to be using them quite yet, making them right at the entry of the spawn. The Earth Shatter coming in only lands on Reddit Ross, but the sound barrier does come through. Feud Zenyatta able to keep their teammate and fellow support alive. And with that, Oblivion now has managed a successful hold once again.
I would like to direct the viewers' attention to the ultimates on the side of Kybaid. This is sort of heading into last fight territory, a fight they have to win. They have 4 ultimates available, so they have the tools, but they are coming in to Vazrad's attack visor, and it's all dependent on that beat, that sound barrier from Chemist. Will it hold true?
We will certainly have to find out, as it's going to be looking for Mongovich to try and get in early. Sound barrier coming in, but the pin on the Eden Solus means that they've taken down easily by that Diva Bomb. Vezred popping the attack visor, trying to get some kills of their own, has to throw down the Soldier Beacon. Does take down Mongovich with the help of Mellow Bello, but OG Hanzo throwing in that high noon. The Lucio gets stunned out, gets chased down. Witty Weave there with a little bit of additional clean as well. Witty Weave has the Pulse Mine, going to be keeping it in their pocket, sticking it right onto Eden Solus, but that does get traded out with a stick onto Kane the Snowman as well. Overtime going to be ticking down now, and Kybaid just has to hold.
Yeah, Kybaid will take that map. Really exciting map. We saw 2 very different playstyles on Village. We saw the double shield hold a lot more true for Oblivion on Sanctum, and our classic scrappy Shrine map to finish it off. Very good map play from both teams. I think what gave Kybaid the edge was just their ultimate economy. They knew when to use their ultimates, they knew what their win conditions were, and they used them perfectly. In that last fight, they knew they had a lot more ultimates in the opposition. They used that Earth Shatter and Self-Destruct combo perfectly, and they take the fight and the map from there.
Yeah, it was looking real good. Kybaid overall pretty pleased with them. I was honestly kind of surprised we saw Oblivion run once they switched on to Wrecking Ball. They just kind of kept it, and that, I don't know, that seems very foreign to me. That seems like a preference a team would not have. Do you think that was pretty impactful onto them there, Ocean?
I don't think Oblivion would die when he was on the Wrecking Ball, but I feel like he just should have went back to Swan and switched. Gone for that more impactful Zarya pick, especially in the Zarya versus Diva matchup. You can get a lot of burst damage onto the Diva. Of course, Diva's Matrix cannot eat that Zarya beam, so you get a lot of free damage, a lot of ult charge, and maybe that could have been more impactful. But hindsight is 2020, and they decided to stick with the Wrecking Ball. They built up the minefield and basically want to fight off of it, but it wasn't enough in the end.
Yeah, not quite enough in the end. However, as we look to move on to our next map, folks, you guys are going to want to stick around because we will be seeing Rialto coming up next. We are going to be taking a short break, so stay tuned. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to GitGud EU. We're here with Kybaid versus Oblivion off the back end of Kybaid taking a pretty strong, I guess, point off of Nepal for your casting entertainment. Once again, Sir Waltham and Ocean. Ocean, you want to give us a rundown of the last game, some highlights?
Yeah, so in the last map, we started off on Sanctum, Nepal Sanctum in particular. We saw Oblivion kind of dominate that map. They were able to control the map with their Ashe on the high ground. They had Lynxie running around the background and the Tracer, which putting a lot of pressure on the lineup of Kybaid. However, they managed to pick it up and take both of the more brawlier maps in Shrine and Village on Nepal, and they were able to come back and take the entirety of Nepal to make it 1-0 to Kybaid.
So overall, it was a pretty thrilling match, if I do say so myself. Now, as I mentioned before the break, we are going to be moving on to Rialto next. So we did see for a moment, Ocean, for a brief moment on the last point of Nepal, a little bit of Pharah. Do you think that's predictable here for the first point of Rialto?
I definitely think Vezred definitely could play the Fora here. He is a very talented Fora player. But I think he's probably more inclined to play the Ashe. Unless they run Linksy on the Ashe and Vezred on the Fora. I feel like Ashe is kind of like a must pick on this map at the moment. So I feel like that's what they're going to go with, especially on Rialto. And it is also worth noting that Oblivion have made a substitute. They have subbed in Naga for Feuds and Yata. So maybe less of the Mercy this time around. We might see Melobello switch over to support. I know Naga is a pretty competent off-tank player, and Melobello also can run that Lucio. So we could see something like that from Oblivion, maybe a bit of a new look after maybe losing their identity in that first map.
Yeah, I mean, I think from what I remember, Feuds and Yata, one of the few things I remember is that they got taken down very early on by that McCree coming out from, I believe it was OG Hanzo. When that pharmacy combo first came out. So, apparently running the Mercy, if, Feuds and Yata's, a little bit more inclined to that, may not be the best option here, especially as we move towards Rialto.
Yeah, I mean, Feuds and Yata did nothing wrong, really, apart from maybe get that first pick off on Nepal Shrine. Play pretty well, especially on Nepal Sanctum, making sure that Vezred had those resources, making sure his tanks had those resources, making sure the space was controlled on the Mercy. Got that clutch res as well to kind of finish off Sanctum. So didn't really do much wrong. However, maybe just a change of pace is needed, maybe a change of composition, less of that Mercy pick, and maybe more of a Lucio Moyer Brawl type style, considering what we saw from Kybaid. When they ran the Brawl, it might become sort of a Brawl mirror matchup.
It certainly might be here. And you mentioned them a little bit earlier, but Vezred looking incredibly strong on that Ashe throughout pretty much the entirety of Nepal. A little less so, especially on, I believe it was Shrine. Didn't really seem to be able to. I actually, now that I think about it, I don't think we saw them on Ashe on Shrine. So they were looking good on Ashe for the first bit of Nepal. Do you think that that's going to be an angle that Oblivion continues to attack, or do you think Kybaid might eventually adapt to it?
I feel like they gotta go for it. I think like Vezred is such a capable Ashe player, you may as well go for it, especially every round, and then maybe adapt to different situations later on. Kybaid made some great adjustments in running the Diva and kind of just trying to force a rotation out of Vaz, and they actually managed to force a really poor rotation out of Vaz on Village, which landed into a clutch Earth Shatter self-destruct combo, which managed to get a kill onto him to win the fight and ultimately probably win the round of Village. So yeah, I mean, if Kybaid's are definitely adapting well to Oblivion's Ashe in Vezred, but I feel like Oblivion still have to go down that road because of how much potential it has.
So if you're Kybaid, given that we just talked about you have to adapt to Vezred, do you think the adaptation is more in their approach, in their composition, or how do you think you overcome that if you're Kybaid?
Well, there's a number of things. Obviously, just avoiding the Ashe is one way, and then obviously compositionally, they ran the Diva in the last trying to try and eat some of those dynamites, which one nullifies the amount of damage that Ashe can do, and two nullifies the amount of ultimates they build, which is two massive parts of Ashe's kit: the dynamite and the Bob. Bob is very, very good at contesting objectives, applying pressure, and dynamite does the exact same thing. Well, except for contesting objectives, it kills things instead. It's quite useful to do in the game of Overwatch. It's quite useful to do damage to the opposition. Top tier knowledge here, top tier analyst here in the GitGud booth. But I feel like, yeah, something like the Diva pick, something like that Brawl composition they were running before is definitely the route to go.
Well, we'll have to see as we are still getting that lobby set up. It will just be a few more minutes here. But since we have the time, that gives us plenty of time to wildly speculate here, Ocean, a favorite pastime of myself and I'm sure of you. Now, OG Hanzo, do you think they would be better to match on that Ashe or continue on the McCree that we saw them on earlier?
I actually wouldn't mind him playing the Ashe and going for it, but I feel like when you're opting into that duel with Vezred, it might not be the safest idea. We saw on Sanctum, Witty Weave tried to take the Ashe for Stash duel and just got dominated in that last fight, which definitely didn't go well for them. I would also maybe like to see OG Hanzo try a little bit more of that Torbjorn, which did threaten Linksy. It did stop Linksy in that sort of backline, stop Linksy from having that space. So the Torbjorn pick could be a good one again. for the OG Hanzo if Lynxie decides to go for that Tracer. But I feel like the McCree is a safe pick. He hit a lot of nice clutch flashbangs, got a nice pick on the Feud Zenyatta at the start of Shrine. So why not stick with the McCree? It's working well.
Yeah, I especially liked the McCree. We saw it come out quite a bit that they were using him, to get rid of those more annoying characters. You mentioned, the Tracer, but also I believe it was Reddit Ross on the Lucio, just trying to skate around the point. We saw OG Hanzo stun them out, get a couple of shots into them, and really set up some kills for the rest of their team. So I do like that I guess kind of deniability that can come through with that McCree.
Yeah, McCree is an extra utility character. When you're talking about hit scans, Widowmaker is the one that gets all the picks, gets all the kills, is really prominent on these maps with long sight lines, Junkertown, Gibraltar, etc. McCree has a lot of utility with the flashbang, a nice stun, so you can put the McCree with your Zenyatta in the backline, stun an enemy Tracer, just a nice bit of extra utility. And Ash is the heavy damage dealer. That's the hit scan that does a lot of damage with the dynamite. Has nice utility with the bulb. So those are sort of like the situations you guys use those free hit scans. So we'll see which of these hit scans get used in this map, and we'll also see what Naga opts for in this match.
I'm curious. I'm ready to see. I do have the feeling that we've been alluding to, that at least from the side of Oblivion, we're going to kind of see the same old standard, that double shield, the Ash as well. Lynxie, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable seeing them kind of switch, to something a little bit less divey, less mobile than the Tracer, but I still think Lynxie performing excellently on it. But maybe not Vezred hinting at that Bastion to start?
I'd like to see if he is actually walking on his spawn on that Bastion pick. It looks like he is, actually. Just hearing the shadows across the hole. It looks like he is. He's walking on his spawn on that Bastion. But that wouldn't really make sense with the composition that they're running. They're running the rounds. No, I think he's walking back. He's on the Ash. He's lied to us. He's pranked us. He's absolutely pranked us.
It's been a while since I've been debated. Yeah,
it happens to me all the time. And we also see Naga play the Ana, so maybe it's something we didn't see Feuds and the auto play in the last round. So maybe Naga is a little bit more comfortable or competent on that hero, and it's gonna be more of the same from the side of Oblivion, except they're gonna go for a more brawly approach this time.
Yeah, it's going to be Kybaid also coming out with this May. Those walls going to be coming up perhaps to buy a little bit of space. And it looks like Kybaid, not going to cart quite immediately. They're going to be ducking into the right side, kind of pump faking out the side of Oblivion, really trying to make them confused, disorient them perhaps a little bit. And the wall coming out, Eden Soul is going to be taking a little bit of damage here, getting chased down and forced down, and right now Kybaid really starting off on the right foot, but it's going to be Mellowbell taking down the OG Hanzo to try to level things out a little bit. That May not going to be online, can't build up those walls to really buy that space, but Kybaid's still getting a bit of progress.
I really like this composition from Kybaid. It kind of looks like, or feels like, they stole the Oblivion playbook. They know what the composition they're going to run out on is. They're running the D.Va for the Ash, they're running the May for the Tracer, and they have a perfect composition to run into this comp.
They certainly do. Can they make it happen here, however, now as this defense holds a little bit more in the middle of the street than we see a lot of times. But early kills on Vezred. Witty Weave actually going around and taking the high ground, getting the flashbang onto Naga. Naga having to use that antibiotic nade just for themselves. Popping the high noon, can't close the kill onto Naga. That is so crucial. Naga going to be taking a quick dip off the map as the cart finally makes its way to first point.
Yeah, Mellowbell is going to struggle to get out of here and reset and keep this charge. We'll certainly try. No, gets walled off by the May, and that's a sad story of Mellowbell 36 on the Zarya.
And yeah, that's a pretty rough go of it, but so far it's looking pretty good from the Kybaid team. Yeah, that's a pretty rough go of it.
Yeah, they look absolutely solid so far. They have both support ultimates online for the next fight as well. They're getting superb value out of this May, whether it's nullifying Vezred or it's just rolling off and separating the targets on the side of Oblivion.
Yeah, Bob coming out rather early, but it does give the opportunity for Witty Weave to get focused down, and both the supports can take it out with a single Pulse Mine. Lynxie playing just so standard on that Tracer, you'll love to see it. And with this, it looks like Oblivion's gonna be striking back just a bit.
Yeah, however, ultimates coming online for the side of Kybaid. They have had sturdy attacks so far. They want the Blizzard, the Self-Destruct, the Nano Boost, the Soundbiter, the Earth Shadow. That's a terrifying set of ultimates to come up against if you're the side of Oblivion. However, you're close to building that Soundbiter. That's what the viewers, that's what the team Oblivion are going to be looking for. Building that Soundbiter as quickly as possible to deal with a flurry of ultimates that will be online for Kybaid next fight.
We'll see if they can do it. Eden Solace going to be giving up a little bit of space, going beyond that, or behind that underpass, taking onto this high ground. The Fire Strike's trying to come out from Mongovic, but the Maywall comes in. The pin does not quite land, and now Mongovic is stuck in a little bit of an unenviable position. Gonna use the Earth Shatter, takes down Mellow Bellow, but Mellow Bellow does not get focused down. The counter shatter coming in from Eden Solace, but it doesn't look like it finds quite a whole lot either. Doesn't matter. Oblivion still get this fight victory.
Yeah, it looks like they used the Nano Boost and the Soundbiter, both of their support ultimates, and as well as the Earth Shatter in that last fight, losing 3 of the 5 ultimates they had online to relatively little value. And just that Nano Boost and Earth Shatter used from the side of Oblivion is enough, and the Bob as well, to hold on to that objective. We see Witty Weave and Lynxy and a Jill on the side.
It's gonna be up to Witty Weave to win that 1v1. They do, in fact, and now it looks a little bit equalized for the side of Oblivion as they get the kill onto OG Hanzo with the quick dynamite chuck up into the top. It's gonna be Michaels onto that D.Va, trying to just pester that Ashe, but a nice sleep onto the Reinhardt opens things up just a little bit here. Mellow Bellow might be looking for the grab opening, knowing that the D.Va is behind them, but they lose their main tank. If they're gonna get this damage value in, they need to do it sooner rather than later, and Lazy's looking to do it sooner. With that, the Pulse Mine gonna be landing in, and Vezred throwing in Bob just to ensure the deal goes through, and with that, Oblivion clutching it out.
Yeah, Vezred is building these bulbs so quickly. We talked about Vezred's Ashe in the intermission, but that's a bulb like every fight for the Ashe on the side of Oblivion. And when we're talking about ultimates in this next fight, we see a massive combination online for the side of Kybaid. It is that Self-Destruct Blizzard combo. However, there's a Soundbiter and a Graviton Surge to counteract it on the side of Oblivion.
And Vezred actually going to be getting the Coach Gun kill out onto the D.Va, taking them out early. This fight is not looking great at the start for Kybaid. The Earth Shatter coming in from Mongovic, though, might help equalize, and they're able to turn it around thanks to a Nano Boost on the OG Hanzo.
Yeah, but they have to use 2 ults to even get halfway through this fight. Late benefit would be picking up some staggers, however. Lynxy nanoed on the Tracer, what can he do with it?
We'll have to find out, as now the reinforcements are going to be coming in from Oblivion. It looks like Kybaid wasn't able to push as much forward as they would have liked. Witty Weave going to be taking a little bit of a nap. That might be crucial to lose that DPS output. Might be even more crucial to have your Lucio put 6 feet in the ground as Vezred does take that headshot in. And the Maywall coming up at perfect timing from OG Hanzo, limiting the use of that Bob, but it doesn't matter. Kybaid's on the back foot.
Yeah, Kybaid used 2 of their ultimates early on in that Nano Boost and the Blizzard to try and win that fight, but they only win an engagement. Vezred goes down and the postpone gets eaten though, so pluses to take for Kybaid as they go into their next engagement.
Yeah, the grab gonna be coming out. Mellow Bellow not seeming to find too much, might have thrown it straight up into the air, not quite sure. The Nano Boost gonna be coming out from Witty Weave, breaking the barrier of Eden Solace, throwing the flashbang, lands right onto the Zarya, gets the mini health pack, able to recover it for just a moment. Michaels, however, not going to be so lucky as they do get taken down. Mellow Bellow quickly healed up from their duel with the McCree, and now Kybaid needs to make something happen. That kill onto Vezred might just be it, but in fact, it doesn't seem like it will be enough. As these kills trying to start come through for Oblivion, the focus onto the backline from Lynxy to try to shore up this fight. Kane the Snowman getting burned down by that Tracer, and now the Maze even getting into this fray, but Reddit Ross coming into to the assist. It looks like Oblivion's gonna manage to hold the Nano Boost even going on to Lynxy.
Yeah, it looks like we're coming down the wire here. Lynxy gets the pulse bomb, he's got the Nano Boost, gets the kill. It's gonna be all over, and it looks like Kybaid will be held on point B.
Yeah, the overtime is going to burn down for just a bit, and Vezred, just to add salt to the wound, going to be taking down OG Hanzo with that headshot.
Yeah, and I can't help think the fight back from the last one, where Overwatch is a game of resources, and they decided to use 2 ultimates, the Nano Boost and the Blizzard, on the side of Kybaid, and they trade that for an engagement. They trade that for getting a couple kills. However, what the side of Oblivion decided to do is they use that nano boost on the Lynxie for space. They use that resource for time and space, and that buys enough time for Vezred and the rest of Oblivion to get back. Vezred builds the bulb, and that's fight over for Kybaid. And I have to feel for Kybaid, if they maybe save the nano boost for later in the fight, only use the blizzard to gain that space, and then they use the nano boost to counteract Lynxie on the tracer with the nano boost, then they definitely could have potentially at least got point B on their offense.
It's one of those hindsight 2020 situations here, but Kybaid now, regardless of how they performed on the offense, are going to have their turn on the defense. And honestly, this first point might be their best opportunity here. If they do get that first point capture, there's not a ton of distance separating them from a loss.
Yeah, definitely agree. Rialto, one of the easier maps to full hold in Overwatch, especially that courtyard section is brutal to push in if you can't get it to the checkpoint. I've just got it around the first corner. We see a similar look out of the side of Oblivion here. However, Vezred on the Genji.
Yeah, Vezred's coming out with a little bit of a new look right now. We'll see if they can make it happen, as Witty Weave onto this Ashe, going to be trying to find those shots. Not quite able to land despite the halt coming in from Michaels. And now once again the backup coming in from Kybaid, just giving up quite a bit of space to try to get those early kills. And Lynxie, in fact, going to be the first one getting the kill onto the OG Hanzo. That means that Kybaid now going to be on the back foot. Although the dynamite does come in from Witty Weave, they're quick to build up that Bob. Ult charge may not be quite enough, as it looks like the tanks of Oblivion just absolutely pushing forward. Witty Weave does take down Vezred, but Mangovich taking a little bit of a nap, going to be taking that sleep dart right to the chest, and this cart's moving dangerously close to that first cap. It does look like, however, Kybaid are going to start digging their feet into the ground, getting this positioning here, and really trying to put in that damage, especially as the respawns start to come in. But Chemist takes another sleep dart. Naga gets a lot of sleep darts, but it doesn't feel like their team's quite able to capitalize on it too immediately. Lynxie has this pulse mine, might need to set up for another sleep dart for an easy stick, or just get the kill onto Witty Weave, and then the stick onto Chemist. You love to see it, and with that, Oblivion takes first point, piece of cake.
Yeah, both of the teams really just playing a game of cat and mouse there. We saw like Oblivion win the opening engagements with OG Hanzo losing the Tracer duel to Lynxie, and then that just kind of forced the rest of Kybaid back. And when they actually bought themselves enough time to where they can get the rest of their team back and take an engagement, they get a kill onto Vezred, but it isn't enough. Oblivion hold strong, and they manage to win the fight. Vezred goes back over to the Ashe, and we'll see how the ultimates in this next fight fare. Both of the teams relatively even on the ultimate side.
Yeah, a lot of time left in the bank for Oblivion. Can they make it happen? Bob's going to go onto the field to ensure that they can't. The Grab Flux also coming out as well. Vezred takes down OG Hanzo as the Pulse Mine comes out. Not quite sure it's stuck. Didn't see the animation go through either. Eden Solace going to be dropping that Earth Shatter, but it doesn't seem to find much as the grab comes in to lock even more people down. And with this, once again, it's a game of backstep for the defense as Kybaid continue to give up this ground. Witty Weave dangerously low. And now with the sound barrier, you have to think Reddit Ross has going to help ferry their team to victory. But it looks like Chemist going to be trying to stay on point, buy as much time and stall as possible. Although there's only so much one Lucio can do.
Yeah, that Lucio goes down rather quickly. Oblivion very close to victory, and they will take the victory, I'm sure. But again, it just feels like Oblivion are just getting the better of these resource trades, where they're kind of scamming Kybaid right now. Kybaid are like, we'll take 2 ultimates for a fight win, and they're just kind of getting like handed like half a fight win, and Oblivion are coming back with, oh yeah, we have these ultimates by the way, and you're dead. That's kind of how it feels like right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I did not like the amount of space that Kybaid was just giving up for free. It felt like there were a couple times where they got early kills or they equalized the fight, and they should have dug in right there. They just didn't seem to do it. I don't know if it was a confidence issue, a communications issue, or what their mindset was, but I don't know. It's so disappointing to see a team just kind of fold under pressure like that.
Yeah, in particular, we saw an instance of that on point A, which we were talking about point A and Rialto. That's where you want to hold. It is a very common place to hold and finish off the map of Rialto. And they kind of killed Vezred. They had an advantage in the fight, and they just did nothing. They kind of just sat there, wielded under pressure, and let that Oblivion side take that first point. And once you kind of take first point, and you only got half another point to go, and you know you have a win condition, it's kind of over from there.
Yeah, based on the gameplay we were seeing, this is kind of the Oblivion I expected to come out after that first match on Nepal, where Vezred just seems to get a lot of value with that Ashe. I know we've been talking them up a ton here, Ocean, but it feels like the impact cannot go understated. And I mean, with that, you can just sometimes carry a team to victory, especially when you have that capability for Bob bringing that seventh man in. Overall, well played by Oblivion.
Yeah, Oblivion utilizing their win conditions well, using the resources to effectively enable their DPS. We saw it in the first one with Feud Zenyatta was kind of just pocketing Vezred. We saw it this one with Naga giving the nanoboost to the Tracer, 1 for space and 2 for just killing things. I mean, what else is a nanoboost on a DPS for? It's to kill things. And going back to that again, we saw like the supports on the side of Kybaid. They would sometimes double support ultimate, maybe not you give their DPS the right resources, and then they would lose those DPS jewels. And that actually does have not only effect on the match, but the player's confidence. When you're consistently losing those DPS jewels, sometimes not even your fault that you're losing those DPS jewels, and that does knock a player's confidence down.
It's hard to fight when you have that lack of confidence, but we're going to see if Kybaid managed to pull it back. It looks like their next pick for our hybrid map set is going to be Blizzard World. Do you think that kind of plays into Oblivion's hand of relying on that Ashe here, Ocean?
I think so, yeah. I feel like Oblivion are going to be able to run that Ashe, especially on first point and second point. There is a lot of high ground, or there's one major high ground on point A, and then there's a lot of high ground on point B. It's very high ground centric, so you can definitely get a lot of value out of the Ashe on those 2 points. On point C, there isn't much value to running that Ashe pick. It's a little bit more brawl. You might want to switch over to even that Genji that Vezred kind of hinted at that they want to play earlier. So yes, it's a good Ashe map, but if they can take Oblivion into point C, that's where that advantage of picking Blizzard World lies for the side of Kybaid.
I know it's less likely to happen. Well, I say that. I want to see Kybaid run the Torbjorn on defense. I don't know why I want to see it here. I don't know if it would be even the best option for them. But there's just something about Blizzard World. There's so many like different routes and tunnels and angles that it feels like you could set up a turret that would really put a lot of pressure, especially if Linksy is going to continue to play that Tracer. I don't necessarily see that translating in towards something like second point. But I think first point, it might be an option that Kybaid would consider, especially since we saw OG on that Torbjorn earlier.
Yeah, OG Hanzo was pretty competent on the Torbjorn. They just didn't get the maximum value. They were actually shutting out Linksy. They were nullifying the Tracer quite a bit. However, just Vezred on the Ashe on that Sanctum round where they were running the Torbjorn was just hard carrying. And I feel like this, again, going back to the map pick, the other 2 hybrid options we have are Hollywood and King's Row. And if you want to play against Vezred on Ashe and Hollywood or King's Row, be my guest.
Yeah, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. Either way, this hybrid map set just seemed pretty well set up for Vezred.
Yeah, all the heroes he wants, all the resources he needs. The series is in his hands. Can he keep that momentum? Can Oblivion keep that momentum? Can they take it through Blizzard World? Can they take it through Assault? Can they sweep the rest of the series? We'll find out hopefully soon.
Yeah, and as we do have a few minutes here, we want to give you guys the heads up that it looks like Reddit Ross going to be taken out from the Oblivion roster now. Feud Zenyatta going to be back in. So Feud Zenyatta and Naga now going to be the support line for Oblivion. Do you think that plays in here a little bit, Ocean?
I mean, it smells of just mercy pocketing Vezred because Feud Zenyatta was it just was the player that was kind of just the mercy pocket. It's just kind of the assigned mercy player of this team. So I think just a guess we'll see Feud Zenyatta on the mercy, giving resources to Vezred, and I think we'll see more of Naga and the Honor. They look clean on that hero.
Yeah, not to talk bad about Feuds and Yada, but you said that, and I just imagine like, somebody's the big brother, and they have their little brother who all their friends are like, all right, well the little brother has to play with us, so the little brother just tags in for like once every 3 games and just helps out the big brother as much as possible. It's a fun dynamic there, but I do like the concept of Feuds and Yada being on this Mercy. I think it's really. It can be really impactful, especially if you're applying it to perhaps one of your sharpest tools in Vezred.
Yeah, I would also maybe like to see them run something like a Brigitte, although Brigitte can't apply the armor to Tracer as she used to be able to, or even as Zenyatta. Zenyatta would probably be a better example. If we see the Zenyatta come out of Fuse Zenyatta, that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Put a Harmony over the Tracer, gives a lot more utility to that Tracer harassing the backline, a lot more heals, a lot more stability when you're attacking that backline. I don't think we're going to see Vezred on the Doomfist. I think that's just a little bit of a bit, yeah, just the Ash Tracer coming out from Legacy and Vezred.
Yeah, and actually Fuse and Yada are going to be on the Lucio, so no Mercy pocket quite yet. We might see that come out a little bit later. But what do you think the plan is here with the Lucio rather than the Mercy?
I mean, I feel like just because they're running the Ryan Zarya, you have a lot more mobility, and when you're running that Reinhardt, to get the maximum value out of that hero, you want to be able to maneuver that Reinhardt around, let him swing that hammer. Especially in the lower tiers, you'll notice that hesitant Reinhardts always get kind of beaten up and destroyed, and when you have a speed boost, it's really difficult to be hesitant. So,
Weeb throwing their hands into the mix, letting themselves be known that there is another Ashe on this server, taking down Vezred. This is a good opportunity for Kybaid if they can make it happen. An anti-nade going in for both teams. Kane the Snowman going to be landing it onto Eden. Solace has to take the back out here, and Kybaid able to get onto the point with that, but OG Hanzo taken down on Tracer might be the turnaround. Doesn't look like it's going to quite be enough, however. The respawn has come in from Vezred, but they're just trying to get some poke damage, perhaps trying to get some ult charges. That first point's capped.
Yeah, when I'm looking at the compositions of these two teams, I'm kind of just looking at the DPS and going, okay, so the Ashe is dueling the Ashe, the Tracer's dueling the Tracer, and when the Ashe just goes down, there's nothing on the side of Oblivion to counteract Witty Weave. Nothing's going to do anything because they're not running the Diva pick. The benefit of running the Diva over the Zarya here is because you have the Diva who can contest high grounds, eat dynamites, contest opposition DPS. So if your Ashe goes down and loses, oh, that's a very nice sleep dart from Kane.
Yeah, Lynxy gonna be getting the bubble, but it's focused down too quickly. The sleep, I believe, also going on to Mongovic, but healed up and kept alive by their supports. The Nano actually going to be going onto the Ashe. Witty Weave throwing it in here, trying to get the damage in. Does eventually clean up Vezred once again, but it's basically to return Kybaid back to a 0-0. Bob going to be thrown in, putting the pressure down right on the front line. OG Hanzo using that pulse mine to take down Eden Solace, and now it looks like Kybaid can pierce through this turn.
Yeah, I would like to see OG Hanzo go for the Tracer duel a little bit more against Link. See, that's the only sort of complaint I have about how Kybaid are taking this offense, and that gives Witty Weave a lot more space to duel Vezred, who's almost at that Bob ultimate for the next line.
The Bob now going to be coming out from the side of Vezred. A lot of ults being committed from the side of Oblivion, but they're going to win the fight for it.
Yeah, 3 ultimates used, but 4 a fight win. They still will have both support ultimates in the last fight. They clean up OG Hanzo. But I feel like as this next fight progresses, there's going to be 3, maybe 4 or 5 ultimates online for the Kybaid opposition. And I feel like they expend a lot in that last fight, and Kybaid are in a really good position here to take point blank.
They really are, as they keep moving up towards the pylon terrace and around it, I suppose. I'm going to see if they can get that value. Vezred knocked off the high ground by the Diva. Michael's not going to allow that Ashe to have free reign for too long. And Reinhardt's just both kind of barreling around each other. The Diva bomb going in, however, doesn't find too much. It looks like Vezred was able to just barely line of sight it. The Sound Barrier coming in doesn't save Witty Weave, but it might help the front line for the rest of Kybaid. Eden Solace brought so dangerously low, and OG Hanzo doing a little bit of work on their own, trying to now just take the fight with Lynxy, but Lynxy not going to be taken down early enough as they bring down Mongovic. And OG Hanzo tried their best to pull it back, just weren't capable.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Kybaid misused their ultimates and resources they had available. They still will have the nano boost, and the pulse bomb available next fight, as well as potentially the bulb, but especially the self-destruct. Michael's used the self-destruct a little bit early, let's say. Used it, got one clip by Lynx, he wasn't able to get back in mech, and that they just kind of sizzled and lost the fight from there.
Now the OG Hanzo does have this pulse mine, going to be perhaps looking for one of the supports to take down early. If they can get Feuds and Miata before the sound barrier would be big, but they cannot. 3 ults once again committed. Kybaid throwing that pulse mine in, doesn't find much for it. Oblivion, however, going to be cleaning up the field. OG Hanzo look like they're basically having their teeth pulled.
Yeah, OG Hanzo gonna try and get out of here, but Vezred sees another final blow for his tally. And they will prepare for the next fight. Vezred has the bomb online, so there is an ultimate online and available for the Oblivion side to use. Not much else, maybe a pulse bomb, but they are playing against Mongovich's Earth Shatter here, and that Reinhardt show is what we're going to have to watch for in this next fight.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching for Bobs barreling into the back lines as well. Mongovich actually takes a very deep pin, putting them pretty far out of position with the rest of their team. It might be just trying to shield against this Bob for the time being, but that is going to wear down on that shield. The Earth Shatter comes in, gets 3 Eden Solis, Melobello, and Naga. Naga not able to be dropped before that Immortality field comes down, however. The Pulse Mine onto a stunned Mongovich is going to ensure that this fight goes a little bit more favorably for Oblivion. We see Lynxie in the back trying to pester down Kane the Snowman, but it's going to be Vezred who finds that kill. And with this, Oblivion seems to have effectively halted Kybaid's push through second point here.
Yeah, as a coach, that sort of fight would really annoy me. Like, you have a clear advantage in the next fight. You're set up, you've got the Reinhardt on the high ground, you've got your Ashe on the high ground, you've used the Bob. Oh, the Bob's been overrun. Mongovich is randomly pinned in the background. We get a nice sub, but we don't follow up on it. And those sort of little mistakes were really annoying for Kybaid, because they've played so well this series, but Oblivion just have the better understanding of this match so far.
They certainly seem to. Lynxie trying to just do their job as Tracer, being a little bit of a pest and tickle that back line with that damage. Gonna be pulling back, however, as this fight continues forward. A Nancy nade onto Melobello is going to enable the push coming in from Kybaid. The grab ensures that OG Hanzo gets locked down. In fact, invests the pulse mine, but once again, doesn't seem to go through. Now the Diva Bomb coming in, gonna be stunning out Eden Solace, and they will be taken down because of it. Mongovic receiving the nano boost, not going to be able to do much with it though, as they don't have that Lucio up to give them that speed. It's now just going to be a question of how long can Kybaid stay on the cart. Not long, with Vezred keeping with these headshot accuracies coming online, absolutely trying that damage into Kybaid.
Yeah, it's going to be almost impossible for Kybaid to even win this one. The bulb is available, the bulb is used, and Oblivion will hold again on point B, but this time on Blue World.
And the pulse mine onto Michaels just to ensure that the overtime timer isn't up for any longer than it needs to be. Bob not able to make it to cart. And with that, it's not even going to be second point for the side of Kybaid. And Oblivion now has the mark in the sand once again.
Yeah, we did see a little bit of improvement in Kybaid in that last fight. They used the self-destruct a little bit better. They had their Reinhardt counter pin the opposition Reinhardt and Eden Solis, which meant that Eden Solis doesn't have a shield, goes down to the self-destruct, but it's one thing having killing the opposition main tank. The other thing is killing Vezred and also not dying to Vezred.
Yeah, I have to admit, one of the things that I've really liked coming through from the side of Kybaid is it seems like their tanks have been in synergy. Those Diva Bombs go in, it always seems like Mongovich is trying to find that pin onto the opposing Rein, and a lot of times they're finding it, and that enables, even if it's just one kill, a man up in the fight.
Yeah, definitely they are using those tank ultimates and just tank abilities together well. They do seem to have good synergy, as you said. However, it's not enough. When you're rotating poorly, you're getting caught out, you're not utilizing your win conditions in the fight, you go into a fight with a clear advantage and you just don't get anything to go your way. That sort of stuff's got to be frustrating. Not only just as a player, you know, playing the match, you want to win, but for the mental game as well. You're letting Vezred win. He's probably laughing. He's killed everything for the 4th time in a row, you know? That is the sort of mental side of things now. Kybaid have to force their way back into the series, and fast.
Stench the bleeding here that Oblivion is causing, and Vezred's going to be coming out now on the Widowmaker, trying to get some more instant style kills than that Ashe might be capable of, but Vezred having a little bit of problem with that grappling hook. Gonna be landing it almost against Kane, however, not able to take down that Ana. And once again, Kybaid backing up all the way to Cart, and that just opens up sight lines for Vezred, taking down 2. With this, Oblivion just has easy pickings. They get to point like nobody's business.
Yeah, you have to feel that Kybaid mental is completely knocked over. Not even like a challenge. They just kind of walked it straight away. Vezred gets a couple of kills. Lynxy gets a couple of kills. The composition of Kybaid just completely falls. OG Hanzo almost getting caught out by Lynxy. A little bit caught unaware as Lynxy goes for a cheeky spawn camp. And ultimates building up to them. Eden Solus, 68%. We see Lynxy, 87%. And nothing's even close for the side of Kybaid.
Yeah, Witty Weave even switching onto this Widow to try and counter. Almost gets the headshot on the Vezred, but close, not quite enough. And now it's going to be on the side of Kybaid holding this upper pylon area, but that Cart's going to continue to make progress for Oblivion through this low rotation.
Yeah, I don't really mind this for Kybaid. They're kind of giving up space for better space. It's like giving up your apple for an orange. You've got an orange, which is just a juicier fruit, and you're using that juicier fruit to give OG Hanzo the sightlines and the kills.
Going to be finding some definite value with that fruit. The Pulse Mine going out. Mongovich is going to not fall immediately. Witty Weave now striking back a little bit on the Widow. Gets the double kill. Helps equalize this fight for Kybaid, and that might have just been what they need.
Yeah, so it's just kind of underlying that. I really like the decision to hold that high ground, give OG Hanzo a little bit more space, a little bit more room to work with. He hit the shot onto Futsuyata, which meant they were able to hold that fight and win that fight quite quickly and gain a little bit more stability in the Ultimate War.
We'll see if stability is going to help them out this time. Oblivion moving forward. Vezred trying to find those angles, gets pestered down by OG Hanzo, but the Earth Shatter coming in from Eden Solace may prove to be enough on its own, as this Reinhardt is now swinging for the fences and swinging for the skulls of the opposing team. Kybaid now down to a skeleton crew. With that, they're going to continue to clean up. This cart has free move progress.
I'm not even sure what happened in that fight as an analyst. It's just so hard to pick apart. Just so much went wrong. The side of Kybaid just kind of dissipated. They saw Vezred and just kind of run away, rotated, split off, and everything went wrong. The ultimates then came through, and there's still ultimates online for Oblivion.
No more space can be given up from the side of Kybaid. The High Noon going to be coming out. Futsuyata taken down, but an anti-nade coming in thick and heavy means that nobody's there to contest. It's going to be Oblivion. They're taking it up 2-1.
Yeah, Oblivion taking advantage of their DPS sightlines and just having that really solid, knowledge of the map. We're making sure that they're running these picks, giving resources to the DPS. We saw some nice team fights of Kybaid doing that, especially that first fight on point B on their defense. They were able to give OG home to those resources. We've talked about that already. But you just have to feel that the momentum for Kybaid in this series is completely dead. Oblivion looking the favorites to take this one all the way.
Yeah, Kybaid looking a little bit boomed, just a little bit out of the mental game. And honestly, I can't blame them. Oblivion came out of the gates hot. Sure, Kybaid were able to pick themselves up a little bit on Nepal, but if you're only counting on winning deathmatch against Oblivion, that's a rough gamble.
Yeah, only winning that control map so far, and ever since Nepal, we've just seen momentum fly in Oblivion's favor. Rialto wasn't really close. Blizzard wasn't really close. We are going to head to an assault map, and I feel like that's going to help the side of Kybaid. Assault, usually a bit of a slower game type, a little bit more methodical, and anything can happen on this very unique game type, which is very unique to just not just the sort of Overwatch, but the gaming scene itself. It's an Overwatch innovative game mode, and anything can happen on it.
Yeah, you certainly have to think so. And to your point, I think that if we saw the Kybaid we saw on Nepal, where they just kind of chipped away at that point, we saw them get a cap even though they didn't win the fight. If they can do that with point progress here on Assault, it's certainly an opening for them to at least not have an insta loss against Oblivion. I think we need to see that playstyle come out from them. If they can execute it, it's a big old question mark on Hanamura, but I think it might be one of their better options.
Yeah, so they pick Hanamura as our assault map. And thinking about it, I'm not sure if I agree. We have Anubis, Hanamura, and Volskaya available for our assault maps. And I feel like Volskaya may have been the choice. Volskaya allows for a lot more dive play, so you could maybe dive that Ashe. You could also maybe run a Widowmaker into Ashe Widowmaker. Probably the better hit scan on Volsky, as it is a more open map than probably Hanamura, Point B, and of course also there's no chokes on Volsky. You just walk through that main choke, if you can even want to call it a choke. Whereas on Anubis and Hanamura, you're walking into a choke against an Ashe. It's very, very difficult. So not sure I agree with the map pick, but it's what Kybaid are comfortable on. And another thing to note from our GitGud format is the team who wins the previous map gets to decide if they attack or defend first. And we've seen Oblivion go for that defend first again, I believe. So they're comfortable defending first, as we've seen on Real. So they defended first, did well, held them on point B. Same with Blizzard. Let's see if they do it again.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're on the side of Oblivion, it makes sense to want to defend first. You can kind of stop your opponent, at least if you're feeling confident, you feel you can stop your opponent, at first point, at the gate, or, through second point, and then you have a set amount of time. However, that can completely backfire if, you fumble on the defense and your opponent suddenly has 5 minutes in the time bank and you have to try to somehow match that. So when it comes to the matching game, if you're confident, defense is where you want to be.
Yeah, I do also just like the decision. Even if you lose and fumble your defense and they have 5 minutes on the time bank, they have 5 minutes on the time bank. You have that knowledge. You want to build a fast time bank to be able to compete, and you can adjust your composition, adjust your pathing, adjust your plan with that knowledge. So having that knowledge when you defend first is so nice if you're Oblivion, and I think that might be their little ticket to victory.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they can punch their ticket here, but as we look ahead, we are still waiting on the teams to come through here. I believe we may be taking it to a quick break, folks, so stay tuned. We'll hop back into Hanamura with Oblivion versus Kybaid, potentially match point. Welcome back, everybody, to GitGud European Console Edition, Week 3, Oblivion versus Kybaid. Oblivion's going to be up 2-1 over Kybaid. For your casting entertainment, Sir Waltham, joined by Ocean. Ocean, I believe we're going to be heading into Hanamura next. We were talking about it a little bit before the break. Overall thoughts and opinions, real quick, Spark Notes edition.
Ashe is good on Hanamura, Vezred is good at Ashe, Kybaid are going to struggle.
Yeah, I certainly can't disagree. Kybaid has not seemed to be able to chalk up quite yet to Oblivion, and it's really a shame, at least to the DPS of Oblivion. In a lot of aspects. We've seen Witty Weep strike back every once in a while, but not with the consistency you need when you're facing Vezred.
I mean, Witty Weep hit a really nice shot on point A to allow Kybaid to take point A of Blizzard World. Unfortunately, they actually took it really quickly, but unfortunately they couldn't even get point B to amount to a strong time bank. And I think if they did get past point B, they were in a pretty good spot to take the map, because Ashe is so prominent on point B. Problem is, you didn't get past point B, so we'll never know what happened. So, yeah, Vezra just dominating on that second point of Blizzard World, and I kind of expect the same here, especially this Hanamura map pick.
Yeah, and of course, if the trend continues on, we'll also see Lynxie on that Tracer as well. Do you think that Kybaid can do anything more to deal with that Ashe Tracer threat as a whole?
I mean, they have to sort of run that D.Va. I would like to see like a Torbjorn adaptation like we were talking about before. They did try and take the Tracer versus Ashe to them and run OG Hunt on the Tracer and Witty Weep on the Ashe, and it worked for a couple of fights, but no, wasn't really the best option. So maybe like a double sniper approach could be really cool with the Widowmaker and the Hanzo, or the Ashe and the Hanzo. That could be a really good pick for the side of Kybaid as they opt to attack first. An interesting note, actually, as we see Road Warrior come in for the side of Kybaid, who is traditionally a support player, and that means Kane the Snowman, the honor player that we've seen so far in this series, is going over to that DPS slot as OG Hanzo is absent for this map.
Yeah, quite an interesting choice here. Wonder if it's going to cost them too much, but, to speak a little bit frankly here, the worst it's going to cost you is a loss against Oblivion, which was, pretty much on the track. We haven't seen enough adaptations for me to say that we'd be seeing otherwise. However, we do have the gates coming open here, and it looks like a sim attack strat potentially.
Yeah, like they're gonna try and teleport to point instantaneously. Interesting of Vezred on the Junkrat to try and spam out that type of composition. Maybe we're kind of prepared for this. We see the same TP go to the top left high ground.
Yeah, the turrets are going to be set down rather quickly, just making it even more of a threat to get inside. The flashbang coming out from Kybaid tries to force out the Tracer in Lynxy, but again, Lynxy too quick on that Tracer, just tears apart the attacking team. And with a dagger in the back, a knife in the front, it looks like the side of Kybaid not really going to be able to stand on their own 2 feet here as they get torn to shreds.
Yeah, they do teleport and they do get that positional advantage. However, Vezred has already chalked so much damage up against that Kybaid roster, already 88% to that Reptire. We'll have that Reptire available before the next fight begins. No doubt in my mind about that. And Road Warrior does build a lot to that nano boost with all the damage and healing they have done on us. That is 1+ for the side of Kybaid.
Yeah, Kybaid gonna stick with this teleporter sim strat. Takes down Lynxy early on. This might be the go signal that they need. We saw them capitalize on one pick before, but they're moving fairly slowly. It looks like they don't quite know the pathing they want to take. And now the Riptire are going to be coming out. Vezred is stunned out, however, gets taken down by Mongovich, who sees their opportunity and absolutely takes it. But now Michael's stuck in an unenviable position of being in that mini health pack room without much supporting them aside from a Symmetra. And these last 2 players have to get out quick or just suffer the time loss.
Yeah, that looks like the side of Oblivion will take that map off of the back. Or that fight, not the map. They haven't taken the map just yet. Or should they have to hold for 2 more minutes at least on point. As we see, can the Snowman look to take the Widowmaker adaptation? Widowmaker, of course, a really good pick into Junkrat because Junkrat doesn't exactly have the range to take out a Widowmaker.
We'll see if they can find the shots. The Simwall going to be coming up, and the teleporter goes out in immediacy to respond. But the grab, they're anticipating it perfectly. The Orisa, the only one able to get away, but doesn't matter.
Yeah, that just the in-game shot calling, in-game decision making from Oblivion there to just throw the Graviton Surge exactly where the teleporter's gonna land. Nothing they can really do. And Ultimates still favor the defense. They've got the rally, then the nano boost online, and they're gonna build up towards those DPS ultimates quickly. There's a little bit of a time period here, but they have an advantage. Okay, they don't have an advantage. Vezred's just gonna kill everything again.
Yeah, Vezred just in the back lines, in the noodle shop, hunting down everybody on the side of Kybaid with that concussion mine. It's looking so good right now for Oblivion.
And with those kills, that little window I was talking about where they have a slight ultimate advantage, both tank ultimates, both support ultimates, it's gone. Both the support ultimates are online. Eden Soul's built up the Earth Shatter, and Vezred and Lynxy will have an ultimate very soon in my mind.
And Lynxy trying to peel that early support out, doesn't quite find it in Chemist. We hear these explosions going heavy into the fight early on, and the Tracer's kind of in the backline fighting their own fight. The Graplex coming in from Mongovich comes and gets the nano boost, takes down Naga, and that Zarya Mellow Bellow so low. However, Mongovich gets slept out, stunned, doesn't quite get brought to their knees though, at least not in immediacy. Kane the Snowman takes down Mellow Bellow, but it doesn't look like it's quite enough for Kybaid to rush onto point with that confidence yet. Vezred continuing to get these kills with the Junkrat. They do get 1 tick, however, so it's not an instant loss for them. They continue to build up this progress, and they need to do it quick or Kybaid's gonna, or excuse me, Oblivion's gonna be back in on the fight.
They can't touch Lynxy, got slapped by Road Warrior on the honor. He cannot touch. And the crucial kill of that actually came really early on in the fight. Vezred goes to the Riptire, gets nothing. That Junkrat ultimate goes to waste. But it's actually, they killed Naga very early on, and they were unable to use that nano boost, one of the critical ultimates that they had online for the side of Oblivion. And that meant there's 0 resources, or almost 0 resources, available for that defense, apart from the rally and the pulse bomb. And there was no value for either of them.
That will be Kybaid basically dry pushing into this next fight. We might be trying to get some early damage, get that attack visor in, but the Doomfist coming in heavy with the Zarya. Gets slept, but not able to be focused out too immediately. Does get traded though. However, there is no more main tank for Kybaid. They need to push here in aggression before those respawns come in. They can't push in though if you got to grab at your feet. The pulse mine coming in onto the floor, getting 2, and with this, looks like Oblivion has managed to stall a push.
Yeah, I do like the quick decision making that the side of Oblivion are making. They're making fights quick. However, on that defense, you might want to just let them in a little bit more, make the fight last a little bit longer, ruin the time back, and then go for that aggressive combo. Maybe try and bait them in a little bit, make them a little bit comfortable. Then the grab and postpone combo comes in. You still get the fight win, and you get a little bit more time off the bank. That would be a nice adaptation for Oblivion to use, but it's looking really bad for the side of Kybaid. They do have the nanovisor online if they can get that soldier on the high ground now.
It's looking like that's exactly what they're trying to do. Mongovic, in fact, going to be taking a nano, a big shield block coming in from, or onto Eden Solis's Earth Shatter. The nano boost coming, or the, excuse me, the attack visor coming out, lands nothing as Wittyweave gets thrown into the wall. And now Kybaid needs to make something happen. A big pin trying to come in from Mongovic, has to get bailed out by a Zarya shield, receives a ton of healing, but gives up a bunch of their shield resource just for it. And now Kybaid on the back foot. People are trying to contest point, but it's not going to happen. Kybaid have managed to lose this fight despite a handful of ultimates.
Yeah, Kybaid used their ultimate, their power ultimate early in the fight. They get a little bit of value, they get a little bit of space. Vezred getting the huge cancel on the Wittyweave's attack visor. And it kind of comes to, okay. Like, see, almost going off the map. Will catch Road Warrior. But I wanted to discuss about the decision after from Mongovic. At a fight, I actually don't mind the decision to go for the pin there, because if he gets that pin, the fight circles in favor of the side of Kybaid. However, he misses it. And actually, this might be what they need to go, because Vezred's down.
Grab coming out, the Earth Shatter to stun the grab push, then the return grab coming in now for the attacking Kybaid. This might be it. They have man up. They need to continue this pressure. They take down Edens with that Earth Shatter online, using that Earth Shatter. Now there is progress on the point for Kybaid. They might be able to turn it around here. That Doomfist dashes on the point, trying to make something happen. That Tracer, however, going to be a little bit more effective as that damage goes through on Mongovic. And now the respawns have come in for Oblivion. Doesn't look like it's going to be long for Kybaid. They can't hold.
Yeah, they lose Michaels in a really old scenario, and that's a lot of your damage if you're the offense. I'm sorry, you can do up to 190 damage per second on that hero with that beam. However, gets taken down, and then from there, Lynxie lands the pulse bomb, wins the rest of the fight for the side of Oblivion, who got the better of a trade the previous fight when Mongovic went a bit aggressive, didn't get much value, then went down, and that was ultimately what decided the previous fight. But Kybaid gave themselves a lifeline, got a nice pick through a fire strike onto Vezred, and will get 65.3% on point B, which means this is quite winnable for Kybaid.
Yeah, Kybaid, they just need to try to burn off as much time of first as they can, and that can be a pretty monumental task from what we've seen from them. However, like you said, not completely out of the water for them just yet. They almost got 2 ticks, which is certainly nothing to sneeze at. Again, we are out of that draw territory.
Yeah, I don't think this is the composition we're going to see on the offense from the side of Oblivion. They have set their win conditions, though, so they know they just need just over 2 ticks on point B, so they can definitely set up to do that. And we'll see Kane the Snowman on the Torbjorn, so definitely trying to nullify Lynxie in a way here.
And this might be exactly what they need. We'll have to find out. That Torbjorn turret going to be set up to guard that back routing, that back pathing. We'll see if it comes to any effect here. No Vezred on the Ashe.
Yeah, Vezred going for the Reaper this time around. Anticipating a little bit more of a brawl composition. I think they're kind of messing around. They've got this Lucio's Zen composition, so they are just going to try and burst in, do a lot of damage, and do a lot of damage with the Discord Orb.
Yeah, Eden Sol's going to be getting right up on the point and just swinging heavy. The shield's already getting torn down, but that Torbjorn turret still keeps that constant pressure up and online. Even Lynxie getting spotted out by it. Lynxie, however, just trying to pry in that damage, trying to get what little they can, but neither team really seeming to want to give away here. That is, until Kybaid backs off just a little bit, and we've seen this from them time and again. They need to make something happen with this back off, or it's all for nothing. And with that, Michaels is going to be the first to fall. Everybody else falls. It's like a domino tower over here.
Yeah, I would like to see Kybaid, when they see that Lucio's Zen composition, play a little bit more aggressive, because when they kite back there, they're inviting the side of Oblivion to speed onto them, get aggressive. And when that Lucio's Zen composition gets aggressive with the limited healing, that's fine for them. They have the Discord Orb. They're going to burst you down faster than you burst them down, even with their lack of stability. As okay, we see Vezred going on the Bastion. Let's see what they do with this.
An interesting choice here. Linksy gonna be very close to that Genji blade. We'll see if they can find anything with it. And a couple of changes from the side of Kybaid as well as they push up into this top realm. Vesred, however, just setting up a big Earth Shatter coming in from Edens is gonna open this point wide open, or open this high ground wide open. And the Genji swinging into a Graviton Surge, just absolutely digging into Michaels, but Michaels gonna be gunning them down, and now nobody there to defend. Everybody was focused on the high ground. Kane the Snowman has left the game. This does not look great for the side of Kybaid, and with that, Oblivion takes it 3-1.
Actually, when I was trying to think of solutions for, dealing with Vesred on Ashe, I think actually leaving the game was a good option. Kane the Snowman thought outside the box. Yeah, you don't have to deal with Vesred's Ashe if you're not in the lobby, so good solution in the end for Kybaid. However, it comes too late, and they will lose the series 3-1 to Oblivion, and they look really good at Oblivion. Apart from that first map, they kind of slipped up on a couple of objectives on that control game mode, but from there, the series was dominant. Little bit of memeing at the end, and they will take the victory over Kybaid 3-1.
And of course, with that play of the game, we just saw Mellow Bellow take the highlight for that grab onto the teleporter. Really, the first time I feel like we talked about Oblivion's tank line, just because, why talk about the tanks when there's Ved Res to be discussing? But I overall thought Oblivion was working well. Kybaid just did not seem like they had it in them, especially after, those first few tough losses. So overall, a spectacular win for Oblivion 3-1.
Yeah, Oblivion, after that first map, they had the better of the ultimate economy. They had the faster decision making, the better decision making, and overall they had the better DPS play, which led them to a comfortable victory.
Yeah, of course, that is going to be wrapping it up here for Oblivion versus Kybaid. But with that being said, be sure and catch our next streams, our next casts coming up for the NA console region. Again, week 3 coming up. It's going to be Belly and somebody named Ocean. Have you ever heard of Ocean?
I've only heard of Pikachu on
Oh.
broadcast.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know Ocean, but my name is Pikachu.
Okay.
I've enjoyed my broadcast today.
All right, well, fantastic. For Sir Waltham and Pikachu here, thank you guys for tuning in to GitGud EU Console Edition. With that, we hope you guys have a great day out there, everybody, and stay safe.